Yesterday we finished Perek Beit about the laws, responsibilities, advantages, restrictions of being a king. Okay, being a king has certain restrictions. Okay, things he can't do. Can't have lots of wives. Can't have lots of money. He's limited in his horses.
These two Sefer Torahs.
He has obligations like writing his next Sefer Torah. We have certain responsibilities to him, which means that we can't, or certain restrictions to him. We can't see him watching him have a haircut, or naked in the bathhouse. And there's other things how we relate to him about judging and not judging and testifying, and doing Yibum and Chalitza, etc. And how he sits when he's sitting Shiva, and when he goes through Menachem Avol, other people. That's what we learned at the end of Perek Beit. Okay? Now we're going to get back to Sanhedrin, because that was really a complete tangent, that discussion, right? Because we just happened to mention that kings can judge or can't judge, and the high priest can judge or can't judge. That was the whole discussion, and that came on to judging. Okay. The main message we got from Perek Aleph was that monetary cases need at least 3 competent judges to judge, whereas other serious offences like Chilul Shabbos, you want to give someone a death sentence, you need 23 qualified, competent judges. Okay, so now we're going into the laws of Dinei Mominus. That's what Perek Gimel is about. Dinei Mominus. Dinei Mominus means monetary cases. Mishloisha is 3. Now the question is, where do you get the 3 from? How do you find these 3? What's the minimum way, or what's the best way of constructing a court? You could have a court in town which sits every day from 9 till 5, and they'll say, look, your friend wants to go to court, and you say, look, send your summons, you're going to court, right? That could be a system. But the Mishnah is talking about that if that system is not in place. You live in a village, and there's no regular court, there's not that many cases, okay? Or it could be, it's not such a good idea to go to an established court, because, we'll see in a second, because when you lose the case, you feel cheated. Because whenever a guy goes to court, he thinks he's going to win. No one goes to court thinking he's going to lose. No point. Might as well just come to a compromise beforehand. You think you're going to win. And you think you're right. And the judge has ruled against you. So it has a negative effect on your relationship with the whole system of law. Because you think that these guys those rabbis don't know what they're doing. Those rabbis are cheats. They've been bribed. It's all negative. It's all negativity that you get when you lose a court case. Okay? And it's not good for the stability of the court system, of rabbis' position, relationship with individuals. It's all negative. So we'd rather have a system where you feel okay about the case even if you lose. How do you get that? How do you feel good about a case if you lose? So the Mishnah here establishes the best way to do it. So as follows. This one chooses for himself one. Right? So let's say Dylan and Lev, you come into court. So Lev picks a judge. Says, I want Rabbi Berkovitz as a judge. Rabbi's a good judge, right? He's qualified to do it. You picked him. Now, Dylan will say, I want Rabbi Elbaz to be a judge, because he knows Rabbi Elbaz very well, and he wants Rabbi Elbaz, okay? Or Rabbi Yid, yeah? So then what? So you pick one, and he picks one. And then, and the 2 of you together, you pick a 3rd one.
Aren't you worried about bribery? Because what if
No, you're not allowed to do that, right? We don't suspect people of doing bribery, right? We don't have to worry. We think these are religious Jews who know what the Torah says. You're not allowed to bribe, right? And Rabbi Berkowitz won't take a bribe from you. And if he does, he'll say, I can't judge your case anymore, right? We trust that a person who's qualified to be a judge will not accept a bribe. And if he does, because he didn't realize you were going to pick him to be the judge, because last week you gave him a box of chocolates, knowing you were going to pick him next week, they'll say, I'm sorry, I can't be a judge because you bought me a box of chocolates, right? Imam brings a story about someone who was a worker, and every week he used to bring a percentage of his fruit from the field to the owner of the field, like a third that would go to the owner and 2/3 would go to the worker. And on 1 week, he came a day early, because he needed judging. This was a rabbi. The owner of the field was a rabbi. And he said, look, I'm sorry you can't judge anymore, because since you brought the things a day early, so I feel bribed. Even that small favor of bringing the stuff earlier than you used to do is already enough to disqualify. He felt that was okay. So the halacha assumes that a judge will disqualify himself if he feels biased. Okay. Now the advantage of this system is that you had someone who you picked. So you obviously have some connection with this person and you trust him, that when the judges sat down to discuss this, he tried his best to prove to them that you were right. And Dylan's guy will work on his part. Now, it's not that he only got Dylan's interest, but because you pick someone who's got some relationship with you, he's going to bend over backwards to fight for your cause. And therefore, if you actually lose the case in the end, you say, look, what can I do? Obviously, I was wrong, because I even had one of my guys there. He's not someone who's employed by you, because that would be disqualifying, right? But he's someone who feels for you. Like, I know, you go to an American court, okay? So if the place where this crime was committed is a black area, okay? So the jury will all be blacks. So if the accused is white, he feels he doesn't stand a chance. Why? These guys are not honest? If they're not honest, they shouldn't be on the jury in the first place. Obviously, they're honest. So why do you feel you don't stand a chance? Because everybody knows the black guys support the black guys, right? That's just how it is. It's not because they're being corrupt. It's not because they're bribed. It's just they understand how black guys think, and the white guys are colonists, and they deserve it in any case, whatever. So it's just.
Then what's the solution then?
No, so the solution is that if you have, so there you have to say, you can ask that the court should be in an area where the jury won't all be black guys, it'll be half white guys and half black guys, right? That's what you can ask, I suppose. So here, Chazal said the solution to make people accept the court's decisions is that one of the judges out of the three is picked by you. You picked him, one of the guy who you went to yeshiva with him, or he's the same chassidus as you, he's a Belzer chassid and you're a Belzer chassid. So they understand when you threw this brick through his window. Come on, the guy was doing it because he ate his cholent and he was singing his mirrors too loud, so it would bother me too. In fact, whatever. They understand each other. They understand what makes them tick, what makes them angry. They're fighting more for his guy. So if you still lost the case, what can I do? My guy was there. I still lost. Okay, so I feel better about accepting the case. So that's what we do. You pick one guy. Now, if there happens to be a court in town and you went to the court, you can insist the guy comes to court, right? But it's better to do it this way. You'll pick your guy, he'll pick your guy, and the two of you together will pick a third one. Which one do you both agree on? And that way you'll probably feel you got a fair trial. That's the opinion of Rabbi Meir. Chachamim Maimon is slightly different. Shnei dayanim b'nei oirecha. The two judges pick the third one. The Chachamim feel that's better. That you get someone who's completely impartial. The third one is picked by the two judges, not by the two people. Right? If it's picked by the two people, then you may feel you've got two guys on your side. You may really have two guys on your side because you picked one. For example, you picked Rabbi Berkovitz, you picked Rabbi Eid, and you say, well, let's get together. Pick who we're going to pick. We're going to pick Rabbi Label. But you don't know that he's Rabbi Label's best friend, or he used to be in his shiur and you really used to get along with each other. So there's a certain disadvantage to having two of the judges being picked by each person. You pick one, and the other one you both pick. Whereas here, if the judges pick the third guy, they're going to pick someone who nothing to do with you. Right?
That's what happened.
According to Chachamim, Shnei dayanim borerim lahem. The two judges pick the third one, and that way it's great. And what's really going to happen in the court case is that each of the judges is trying to convince the third one that he's right. That's really what's happening. Because he's completely impartial. The middle guy's completely impartial. He doesn't know anybody in the story. Okay? He's not fighting for anybody. He's fighting for the truth. The other two guys are a bit like lawyers. They're not paid by anybody. But he's fighting, thinking, well, maybe it was like this. I mean, he's looking out for the guy who's his guy, and he's looking out for his guy. And each one is going to convince the third guy. Because once you've got the third guy on your side, you win, because it is 2 against 1. Right? That's all you need. That's the point. Good? Now, if this is what happened, but you have the right to disqualify the other guy's judge. Say, look, you pick this guy, but I feel he's unsuitable. We'll see exactly when you can do that in a second. Right? If this is an established court, you can't do that. You can't come and say, oh, you're not good. Who are you to say the judges are disqualified? But if this wasn't a court, which is an established, which has been given permission, been tested and qualified, and been given permission by the whole court system to judge this, but it was actually a court that you made, right? It's actually called in Hebrew Zabla. It's called a Zabla based. Zabla means Ze Boire Loi Echad. This one picks one of the judges. So for short, it's called Zabla. Ze Boire Loi Echad. This one picks one, this one picks one, and the other two pick a third one. So if you have a Zabla based in, which is great, but then you have the right to say, I feel this guy is unqualified. The guy you picked, I picked, I feel is qualified. I feel your guy is disqualified. But we'll see when can you do that. It says like this. You can disqualify the other guy's judge in this case. And the other guy can disqualify the other guy's judge. That's what Rabbi Leader says. And Rabbi Leader seems to hold you don't have to give any good explanation of why you feel he's... I know I don't like you guys, no good. So find somebody else. I don't know how many times you can do that. There must be a limit, otherwise you're never going to get this court case sorted out. Every guy the guy picks to know he's no good. I suspect him, he's your best friend. You went to school with him. You were his roommate in yeshiva. Every guy you pick to be your judge, you disqualify. I don't know what the limit of how many times Rabbi Leader holds you can do this. Rabbi Leader seems to hold you don't have to have a good explanation of why you think he's unfit. Chachamim say they agree you can disqualify, but only in the following case. When can you disqualify someone? This man, you have to bring against him some proof. Can't just say, you have to some proof that he's Shehen Karovim, that they're related. Or Psulim, or some other reason that you have to excuse. He's a thief, he takes bribery, he's a liar, you have to some type of substantiate your claim that he is unfit. Now, Contra Meir, since he wasn't part of an official court system, but he was just picked by you, I have the right, even without explanation, to say I don't like his nose, whatever. I feel biased because not because he's postal, because he's Hasidish. So Hasidish makes him postal, or he's not Hasidish, or he wears a kippah shruga, or he doesn't wear a kippah shruga. That's not a reason. Contra Meir, I don't have to explain why I don't like your judge. Your judge, the one you picked.
I don't have to give you a reason.
I don't have to give you a reason, but I presume according to Meir, there's a limit to how many times you can do this. Otherwise, you're never going to get this caught off the ground. According to Chachamim, you only have the right to disqualify somebody else's judge that he picked if you can actually substantiate it with some type of evidence that he is related, he's his second cousin, or he's apostle because he gambles, all that sort of stuff.
Or they belong to the same sect.
No, that doesn't disqualify.
They both from Babov.
So what? That disqualifies him? No.
So they have that relationship.
No, but that's not a problem. That's not called disqualification. That's not a disqualification. What's wrong?
Brothers.
If they're related.
No, I'm not saying they're related.
No. You have to be real psul. Just because they're both Hasidish or both Bobov or both Geras, that doesn't disqualify. I think exactly. According to Rabbi Leader, that's exactly why Rabbi Leader holds. I don't have to explain. I have reasons why I don't like your judge. Because I've seen the way he davens in shul, or I know that his connection with you. That's it. Chachamim say you have to substantiate your claim. Just because they're both Gerach Hasidim. Talking about front people, talking about Talmidei Chachamim, and we don't suspect people of siding. No, he's not really, he's not really siding with you. He's just one of the three. I also picked one. You picked a black guy from Johannesburg. I picked an Ashkenazi from Manchester. And that way you picked the guy who's siding with you. I picked the guy who's siding with me. Okay, there's only one. One doesn't help you. It's the third guy who's going to be the guy who's going to decide who wins. Understand? But still.
We're picking lawyers actually, not picking judges. The judges are
in a sense. Only the difference is a lawyer is paid by you. And all the lawyer does is fight for you. If the lawyer actually thinks that I'm right, he won't admit. Right? Because he's not here to find the truth. He's here to make you win. That's not what's going on over here. I actually once had a case like this, a Zabla. It's called Zabla. I had a claim against the yeshiva I once worked for, and I took them to court. And I picked my judge, and they picked their judge, and together the two judges picked the third one, right? But the guy that they picked was actually paid on the payroll of the yeshiva. Right?
How is that fair?
I complained to the third judge that this was unfair because he's then obviously going to, if he's on the payroll of the yeshiva, obviously he's going to side with them. It's not just that. Actually, another guy who was teaching the same yeshiva, who was actually a lawyer, or a religious lawyer, he argued this on my behalf. How can the judge be paid? He's not bribed, but he's just I don't know. Anyway, the third judge didn't accept his claim, and I'm not sure why. Whatever, there was not much I could do about it, but it didn't make any difference. It doesn't make any difference.
The judge can't even take a gift. It's the whole gift. Even if you did say nice for it.
Again, but it's different. It's a different. That's a real court. This is talking where it's a type of compromise because we agreed to go to a zabla, which we agreed to have a court which is being picked by the people. So anyway, but that seems to be a bit of debate. Okay, but people are.
But a Dayan can bet on your behalf, right?
Can do what?
Bet on your behalf.
Bid on your behalf?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I had a case like that during my conversion.
Yeah.
It was a Dayan. He wasn't so keen on converting me.
No.
And the registrar of the court, the Dayan that does conversions, he bet on my behalf. No, let him convert.
Oh,
He wants to go
okay,
there.
but that's a different case. Yours wasn't the court case. You didn't have a plaintiff and a defendant. You were just like coming to a decision whether to let you to do it. But
Yeah.
I think it was really a call. It was not against you, between you and God. Who was it between?
So I'm saying that the other Dayan, he did my bidding, like, no.
Yeah, that's fine. That's the Dayan's job. The Dayan does what he believes is true. He believes that you had the right to, and you had done enough. Yeah. The Dayan's not taking sides. He decides who he thinks is correct. My problem is once you pay the Dayan, then he can hardly be impartial at all. Right? The argument is that's exactly what a Zabla Beis Din is. The whole point of a Zabla Beis Din, you should have someone working for you, putting your ideas so that when the court comes out with a decision against you, you'll accept that decision, knowing that there was someone there who was.
So how does
fighting for you.
just one question? Just how does a Beit Din make it unanswerable? Because I simply can't take myself.
No.
Wait,
You pay them. You pay them to go to court. You pay them for their time. But they don't take more from one than the other. That's not a bribe. Everybody pays the same amount. You cost 200 shekel to open a tick. Okay, the other's got to pay his 200 shekel. Although the truth is, the guy who has to pay is the guy who was the one who asked them to open the case.
So the money for the Dayan's salary every month, where does it come from? The 50,000 shekels he earns every month, where does it come from?
Look, it depends. If the Dayan's part of the court system, Israel comes from taxation. Just like every judge gets money from taxes. Right? Same thing. If it's not part of the Israeli rabbinut, but it's part of a local thing, it comes either from for example, the Bedats, the Eidach Haredis. So their money is made from Hechsherim. They sell, it's part of the community. So part of what goes to pay the rabbi comes from a taxation on the meat. So most communities, the meat, which is
Sales.
the meat is taxed by the community. And the tax on the meat goes to pay for the community, what goes to pay for the mikvah, what goes to pay for the rabbi, what goes to lots of things which are community. Also, people pay dues, D-U-E-S, to the community, and that also goes to for the upkeep of the rabbi and the judges. That's what it's meant to be. But also, there's a fee to open a tick. You know what a tick?
And for weddings, I assume, right?
What?
Yeah. And for weddings, that's all. You have to pay.
For services in general.
A wedding is something else. You know, I don't know.
For the tuba, you have to pay.
No, who can pay?
I assume the day I get married,
The government.
The Beit Din has to know, in usually in South Africa, and such, they have to open up the case, put my tuba there, so that 200 years from now when I'm dead, and my great-grandson wants to know, was I ever Jewish? If there was a black guy in my bloodline, they have to bring a tuba. He was Jewish, he has a tuba, he has his certificate. Doesn't have a system like that exist.
Oh, I know.
No, they're balloons. You give
I don't have some type of record. I don't know how it
a
works.
record.
No idea.
I know David Ross just did it. That's
Okay. So we said that. However, if as far as we know, the other guy's judge is kosher, and you can't find anything wrong with him, or mumchim, or expert, it really means both. He was kosher and expert. It means if you can prove him to be a relative, or disqualified because he's not an expert in Jewish law, then that's an excuse. But if you don't have either of those things, because he's kosher, means he's not a relative, and he's an expert, then according to the Chachamim, you don't have the right to disqualify someone else's judge, even though he was picked by the other guy, because that's the agreement that we came to. You can't disqualify him if he has no excuse. So that's the argument to Rabbi Leader. There, poisel eidav shazeh. Now this is very difficult. You can disqualify somebody else's witnesses. But there, poisel eidav shazeh. You can disqualify the other guy's witnesses.
Is that the whole point?
Exactly. We'll get into that. Let's read the Mishnah first. Divrei Rabbi Meir is going to need explaining this. These are the words of Rabbi Meir. Chacham say, I must say, when is that true? If you bring some type of proof, that they're related, either related to each other, or related to the defendant, to the plaintiff, they're related, yeah? Or pasurim, or disqualify for some other reason, like that they are thieves, or gamble, right? Or whatever it is. If they are kosher, means they're not related to each other, and they're not related to the defendant, you can't disqualify them. Okay. So the opinion of the Chachamim makes a lot of sense. You can't otherwise, what's the point of having witnesses if someone can just disqualify them? So what exactly is Rabbi Meir talking about when Rabbi Meir says you can disqualify someone else's witness without having to bring any proof? Okay? So that needs explaining. In the previous case it was easier to understand because it's not a real judge, it's a judge who you picked. And I picked my judge, so I can say I feel the judge without actually proving this apostle is biased because he comes from your community. Whatever it is, right? That's what Rabbi Meir holds. But here it's ridiculous. How can you disqualify somebody else's witnesses? So the Gemara says it's a very, very specific case, very limited case. It's true there's some debate, and there is one case which makes more sense. The case is as follows. A guy comes to court, and you bring him to court, whatever, one of the sides says, I have 2 sets of witnesses to prove me right.
So 4 people?
I claim, more than that. Well, yeah. I claim that you owe me money and you say you paid. I say paid? I paid you in front of Reuben and Shimon and Yehuda and Levi. Right? I've got 2 sets of witnesses who could testify. So okay, fine. Bring them to court. So he goes to find them and he brings Reuben and Shimon to court. And then the guy says, but this guy is a thief. I know this guy's a thief. I can't prove it. I have one witness, obviously one guy, even one witness won't help, right? But you always need 2 witnesses to prove anything. If 2 witnesses testify that your witness is a thief, or your witnesses, or one of them is a thief, then your witness is out, okay? How do they know? So based on how do you know there's a thief? Because we were in a court where he was accused of theft, whatever. There's a story, okay? And they can prove it, okay? But it's...
Nara?
No, there's no Lashon Hara in court.
There's no
Lashon Hara in court. Unless you never catch any thief. It's Lashon Hara.
But if there's one, it's Lashon Hara, no?
What?
There's only one witness.
Right, so there's 1 witness, but you're not got 1, there's 2 witnesses. 1 second. So in order to establish that other guy's witnesses are thefts, or related for that matter, you know what I'm saying? We claim that they're brothers. Your 2 witnesses, Reuben and Shimon, Reuben and Shimon, they're actually brothers, right? Like the real Reuben and Shimon, right? And they say, I don't know. Reuben claims he's not Shimon's brother. Shimon says, I don't know what you're talking about, brothers. You know? Yeah, well, I know you guys are brothers. You guys are like, right? Or you're related to him, whatever. There's some type of thing that disqualifies you. But that's my claim. But I also have 1 witness to help me. So what does 1 witness help you? No, you need 2. That's 2. It's me and him. I'd say you guys are related. Okay? So can I disqualify your witness? Why not?
How can you have a bias?
Bias. Says the Rabbi Meir, I don't have a bias. Because what's the worst come to the worst? Your guys are out. But in any case, you've got another 2.
But if he didn't?
But no, the case is that he claims that he's got another 2. Rabbi Meir holds that once you claim you've got another 2, you have to bring them. You can't back down from your claim that you've got another 2. That's Rabbi Meir's opinion. And therefore, you have to bring the other 2 in any case. So I have no bias to disqualify Reuven and say that he's Shimon's brother, or your brother, or whatever, or my brother, right? Because it doesn't make any difference to me. It doesn't make any difference to you. Because even if these 2 are out, you have to bring the other 2. If you don't bring the other 2, you lost the case in any case. Because you said you've got 4 witnesses. But once you make that claim, the mayor holds, once you make that claim, you have to bring them. And if you don't bring them, you're going to lose the case. So once you're brought, if I disqualify Reuben and Shimon because they're related, that doesn't mean you didn't bring them. I brought them. I brought Reuben and Shimon, and you disqualified them. But you've got to bring Yehuda and Levi, right? And if so you're going to lose the case You can either win the case or lose the case. If you bring them and they're good, you win the case. If you don't bring them, you've lost the case. So then what's the difference to you, to me, to get rid of Reuven and Shimon? That's what Meir holds. Chachamim hold it's not true. It's true I said I had 4, and I thought I had 4, but then I find out that for some reason or other, the 2, they weren't really there. I forgot. I thought they were there and they weren't there. They weren't really there. Can I still win the case? Yeah, I can win the case based on Reuven and Shimon. It's true I said I had 4, but I can change my mind about bringing them all. I don't have to bring them all. And therefore, when I bring Reuven and Shimon, and you say the Reuven and Shimon are brothers, right? So you have a bias because you stand to gain from that. Because now that you disqualify Reuven and Shimon, and for some reason or other I don't find, can't bring Yehud and the other 2, so I only lost because you disqualified the first 2. So according to the Gemara, the debate between the Chumrah and Meir is very, very limited. What really is the focus of the debate is as follows. It doesn't seem to have anything to do with it. Is when a guy says, I have 4 witnesses, and can he change his mind and say, I thought I had 4, I can't find the other 2, I thought they were there and they weren't there. According to Meir, you can't change your mind, and therefore me disqualifying the first 2 makes no difference. Either way, you either win or lose. If you bring the other 2, you'll win. If you don't bring them, you're losing whether these 2 are good or not. Either way, you have to bring the other 2. According to Chachamim, you don't have to bring the other 2. And therefore, I have a bias to disqualify the first one.
Can I create reasonable doubt?
What's that mean?
Meaning, you bring Shimon in and Reuven. And I know Shimon. His sister married out to a Goya, to a Goy, his sister. And then you said,
them.
Why, listen, and then you said, what's it relevant to this? I'm like, actually, it's not relevant at all.
It's just Lashon Hara then.
What? You think now the judge is going to say, maybe he really is. Well, first of all, what you're saying is a story. You can't ask a question on a story. Your story happened. What are you asking me now? What's your shayla? Can you do that? Are you allowed to do that?
I'm creating reasonable doubt.
No, but what you, and now what?
Am I allowed to do that?
You're allowed to speak.
But you did it. Understand? Our questions are not story. Our questions is do you have to bring? Are you believed? Do we believe you when you and somebody else? Do we have a bias? Your question is, I did it. Was I allowed to do it? If I bring a newspaper article which shows, that's another question. Are you allowed to give information that's sowing doubt into the head?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, I don't know. That's not. I mean, it's a good question. I don't know. It's probably Lashon Hara, but the judges are not stupid.
You just said it's not Lashon Hara.
No, but it is because you don't have any evidence. You're just spouting something.
But why if his sister is married to a Goy?
It's still Lashon Hara.
You just said earlier it was Lashon Hara.
No, that's if you bring 2 witnesses. That means you say something in court which will be accepted by the
court. I
court.
said one of the witnesses.
2 witnesses say that his sister's married out.
No,
Rabbi.
You bring 2 witnesses, right? Shimon and Reuven. And I say, Rabbi, this witness, Reuven, is not.
Who cares what you say? You have to have 2 witnesses to say anything in court.
I'm saying on the witnesses.
I know, but you need 2 witnesses against them. So let's say you brought 2 witnesses, and they say this guy's married out, and the basin will say, why didn't you tell us that piece of information? What's it to do with anything?
And that's okay, one. I'm sorry, I should have said that.
But you did.
But yeah, what is
what's your question? Were you allowed to do it?
Yeah, I'm created down.
I don't even know what your question is. Should the basin give you malchus? What's the shaila now? Did I do an aveira?
Does that now change the case?
What does that mean? Does it now change? What is the question?
Is he still a kosher witness?
Of course he's a kosher witness. What your case is married out.
You just said something.
So what is this is married out? So what?
Even if she married out, why would
even if he's married out, that's something else. But if this is my I don't understand what does it do?
Wait, what happened if you bring a goy?
I've made you look at it in a negative way. And
so now what's the question? Is he disqualified?
So now anything he says, in your mind, you have that thing of...
You're not asking me a question. What's the shaila? Should what? Ask me a question.
Is he still a kosher witness?
Of course he's a kosher witness.
Okay, that's it.
How could you have a minute he's not a kosher witness?
I just told you something about it.
So what? But it doesn't make any difference. To make a guy apostle, he has to be, he's related to me, he's related to you, he's related to himself. Or he does Averas. But what's he going to do? One second. Yaakov Avinu's brother was a Russia. Did that disqualify from being a witness? Can't be shown.
It just causes doubts in your head.
Okay, so now the question is, it causes doubts. It doesn't make him apostle. It may make it more difficult for me to judge based on what he's saying.
That's what I'm saying.
No, but so what's the shaila? What's the
Ask
question?
you a question.
That's a fact. In fact, is it made it more difficult? So now what's the shaila? What's the shaila? You understand? There's no question being asked here. You're just stating a story. You could say, was the guy allowed to do that? Was the guy allowed to sow doubt into the heads of the judge? That's a good question. But if it's big, I don't know. I'm the funniest one. I don't think so. Because the guy knows that he's just saying Peter it's Lashon Hara. Means just because you've got two people to say a fact. If I come and tell you two witnesses that I saw Meir do something, that's still Lashon Hara. Understand? It's only not Lashon Hara if there's a purpose. It means a constructive purpose. Here, just to put doubt into the judge's mind is not constructive. Although I don't know why this was put. I know a normal judge wouldn't see this as so. This is married out. So what? That's not going to influence to think that he's a liar. It shouldn't.
What if I said he went to the wedding?
Maybe that disqualifies him. I don't know. Okay, next case. If the guy says, "I trust my father," means I trust my father to judge me.
No,
Really, my father can't judge me, but I trust him.
Sucks.
Or I trust your father. I accept, although my father is not valid to be a judge, but I accept he is. And obviously you accept. No, it doesn't have just I accept, right? And you accept as well because it says I accept your father. So I accept your father, or I accept my father, and you're okay with that. Does that work? That means clearly, that means we're agreeing to be judged by somebody who is actually not qualified. I don't know if he's biased, but he's not. He's not.
You shouldn't be allowed to judge.
By law he's not allowed to judge.
Well, that's a good question.
But we accept. Or we agree to have 3 cowboys. Bakar are cattle. Ro'eh are shepherds. Shepherds of cattle. What are shepherds of cattle? Cowboys. A cowboy is assumed to be an Amaretz. I mean, you could theoretically be a cowboy and be a Tamachach. He could be, but it's an assumption, right? So therefore, he's not qualified to be a judge because he doesn't know the halachos. But we both agree to have this guy as to judge. What's that called? I mean, is that okay? Can you and I agree that I'll toss a coin, and if it's heads, I win, and tails, you win? Of course we can. No one can stop us agreeing on
What
whatever.
are the matters of truth, though?
No, one second. We want to. I claim that you owe me money, and you say I paid. I said, you know what? Let's instead of go to court, let's just toss a coin. Are you allowed to do that? Of course you're allowed to do that. One second. Can you say, you know what? You owe me 100 shekel, but I'm going to forgo my rights. You say, I don't mind. Don't pay me. It's called moichel. Can you do that?
Yes.
Of course. So if you could be moichel me, for sure you can toss a coin.
That's different.
It's exactly the same.
That's
Right?
different.
If you could be moichel me, why can't they say, we'll toss a coin, just a minute, if you get the heads, then you win. I'm moichel you, that's what it means. That's what it means. If you get heads, I'm saying, well, obviously I'm not suggesting that the tossing the coin should prove you right. That's silly. That's
It's not
superstitious.
energy.
All I mean is, well, let the coin decide, and therefore you'll win the case. So just like I can do that, I can pick cowboys as well. Or I can pick your father to do this. If we all agree, it's called in English arbitration. Arbitration means it isn't a real court case. We're having judges doing it. All we're having is, we agreed on who'll judge the case. If we're happy with that, it's no problem. The mission is not, that's straightforward. The mission didn't need to teach you that. What the mission wants to know is whether you can change your mind about it.
I have 2 proofs.
Just give me 1 second, right? The mission wants to know whether you can change your mind about this agreement.
said
You
yes.
agreed, I agree with Lev, right? We're going to let Meir and Dylan going to judge this case, even though neither of them are qualified.
That makes
right?
sense if you could change.
Because you never learned Chesed Mishpah. But we're going to go to the Rosh Yeshiva, we're going to go to El, but they don't have time for us. We both agree, here, let's shake on that. We're going to agree, these two should judge our case. And now, they started to do it, and I said, that was a silly mistake. I thought they knew something about Chayino. I thought they've learned Adam and Thea. They don't even know how to, they don't listen to Rabbi Label's class. They don't know anything about this thing. I want to change my mind. Can I back out from my agreement to allow? Okay, let's see. Seems to be a discussion in the Mishnah.
I think it could.
Right? Meir has an opinion. Lev has an opinion. Let's see what it says in the Mishnah. I agree. Ne'emah means trust. I trust your father. I trust my father. I like 3 shepherds, cowboy shepherds. Rabbi Meir, he can change his mind. You can't change your mind.
I have two proofs for you, Rabbi,
Two proofs of that what?
of why I hold it the way I hold it.
About what? That you can't toss a coin to win a case.
Yeah. I just have an issue on that. That's it.
They don't even disagree on
Yeah,
that.
the mission doesn't even talk about
They don't
that.
disagree on that.
That's poshut.
I just want to answer the question there. The rabbi said, not even 15 minutes ago, that the difference between a lawyer in the secular court and a judge is that in law, I can kill someone and I can tell my lawyer I killed him. And the lawyer will not disclose that. He'll do everything he can to get me out of the case.
Although by law he's not allowed to, but carry on.
Yeah. But, but, mafias have lawyers. But, you said a Dayan is different because if a Dayan knew I broke Shabbos, he's not going to defend me in court and say
100%.
he's going to stick to the truth because it's a matter of truth. Yeah.
100%.
So I'm saying the coin cannot determine the truth.
It's not determining the truth.
It's either I owe you or I don't owe you. Finish.
But we can agree on whatever we want. It's my money. I can agree on whatever I want.
You're not chayiv to go.
If I go to court, then the judge has to be honest and say the truth. If we agree not to go to court, it's just between us. It's not like, oh, I'll not go to court. I was mechalel Shabbos. Let's not go to court. No, the court's going to take you to court. It's just a money matter between the two of us. Just like I can forgo my rights altogether. It's your money. You can say throw it in the bin. No, it won't be your own money, right? We can also agree to be judged by something that doesn't have the right to judge us.
Second case is that why is someone that owns a casino or gambles not allowed to be a witness?
Oh, we'll talk about that next mission.
Okay, wait, I want to get that proof.
Are you going to prove?
That
Because he's a thief.
why is it? Because you don't really want to give up your money when you gamble.
Right.
So you hope that you win. So when you toss the coin
It's a
and you
gamble.
lose, you don't really want to moichel me. You were hoping that the coin would be on your side, but it wasn't. So,
Okay.
so based on that,
Okay, yeah. Maybe it was a bad example. I don't think you're right, but basically it could be. The whole sugi of gambling is we'll have to talk about later on. Right? It's not so straightforward that a gambler is possibly. We'll see. According to some, it's only if he makes his whole livelihood is on gambling.